As we've been discussing all day, there's a lot of minutiae and devil in the detail, and that's what budgets or interim budgets are about. And you've had a chance to digest the big ticket items per se are pointing us in a direction. And the direction tells you that today is important, tomorrow is important, day after is important, but there is a theme that we have to thread together, because often the words are cheap and we've all used them: fundamental, paradigm, lexicon, tectonic. We use them, and heck, we in the media abuse them. Everything is mega this and mega that. Okay. But what do they mean? Where are we? What are we doing? Where are we going? What have we achieved? Who do we seek to be? How do we seek to get there? You have to have some clarity on this. It's a self-discovery for individuals, and it's a self-discovery for nations and indeed civilizations. Now, this is not for the first time that this statement has now been made and reiterated. Narendra Modi made it a few months ago in Parliament. He made it in a very impassioned speech. It has been reiterated today by the finance minister. So, in going through the checklist of items, done, to do, done, to do, the point has been made that inclusive vikas, inclusive growth, is the definition of real secularism. Now, we've had very toxic, voracious debates over this for a long period of time. Some would say too long a period of time. It was kicked off in modern terms in the amendment to the preamble during the emergency, because the preamble did mention the words inclusive religion, and the word secular was added as parenthesis for reasons best known to the politicians of that time. Now, it is perfectly reasonable to be suspicious of politicians making claims. They'll come and promise you the sun and moon. It's perfectly reasonable to be suspicious of their intentions. We should be, of all politicians, because we hand them power. So let's be careful. Think multiple times before we hand them the power. So, very much so, proof of the pudding has to be in the eating, ladies and gentlemen. You've had 10 years of chuckling it, of gobbling it down. So, the question now is that definition accurate? When a house is built, is the person's religion, caste or creed the defining factor? When a road is built, when you board a bus, when you board a train, when you board a new airplane, when you get a toilet, when you get an LPG cylinder, when you get a solar panel now on your roof, are you being asked, what is thy name? What is thy religion? And on that basis, distribution of benefits to change your life are being given or not. And if we have moved on from that, what magic has just taken place? I don't know if we moved on, but if we have, if we can, what a world that will be. Let's open up this telecast. Rahul Ishwar joining us on the broadcast, Savid Rodriguez, who's a member of the BJP, joining us on the broadcast as well, Tahira Hassan joining us on the broadcast. You remember her, she sat with us on NewsX several times. She's been a vocal critic of the triple talaq, which has now been since outlawed. Okay, so Savio, here we are, okay, and we have been defined by everyone on the basis of our identity in separation. It always comes religion, caste, creed, and it is almost been happenstance that you belong to the same country. For people watching this broadcast, ladies and gentlemen, it's a fact of truth, okay? that if you were to hop across the border to Pakistan, where my family originates, you will find people who look like me, talk like me, watch the same films, eat the same food. But we're not one country. And as I travel my own country, I meet people of all sorts of dispositions, and they're all Indians. It is a fascinating reality. Savio Rodriguez, have we fundamentally changed the definition of secularism?
Rishabh, the definition of secularism that has been permeated and allowed to be misinterpreted in India has been that secularism is the acceptance of all religion in matters of governance. But the clinical definition of secular or secularism is the acceptance of no religion in matters of governance. What does that primarily mean? It means that a government or a state looks at an individual as a citizen of that country or that state, and therefore certain benefits are given as being a part of that nation. And I think, yes, I agree with you. To your question, the answer is yes, that we have reached a stage in India where most of us are looked at as being Indians first and then belonging to various different castes and creeds. And that's very important, because today, whether you are a Hindu, whether you're a Christian or a Muslim or belonging to any caste, there has been a holistic development that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been ensuring over the last 10 years. I'm sure there is a long way to still go.
Yeah.
But at least we have made the effort over the last 10 years to do just that, to have an inclusive, holistic progress as far as India is concerned. And that is the true definition of secularism.
Okay, so like I said, Savio, proof of the pudding in the eating. Now, you have been a journalist, a rapporteur, a politician, a social worker. In the last 10 years, and 10 years is a decent amount of time. You and I have got plenty of grey hair in that period of time. In 10 years, have you had a anecdotal, second-hand story of someone coming and saying that I was denied this yojana or this scheme or access to this airport or entry train ticket to Vande Bharat or the ability to get a house or get a toilet because I'm Muslim or I'm Christian?
No. Let me give you an example, Rishabh. You know, in the 2022 elections, I contested from a constituency in Goa, which has got a large Christian population. Now, if you look at the government schemes that in that constituency, there were 10,600 individuals who took the government schemes. But out of those 10,600 individuals, 6,500 were from the Christian minority, part. And by that virtue, they should have gone ahead and voted for me as far as the elections were concerned, but they didn't do that. So there is no malice, there is no division. The government is going about ensuring that the schemes that the government has brought forth is reaching out to everyone, irrespective of the caste and the creed, if they fit within that particular scheme.
Okay, so I can't find any anecdotes. I'm sure people out there, maybe they can, but I've been doing this a long time. We haven't heard them. I've got plenty of anecdotes which we have annotized, reported, shown on television, not as a point of trying to find something, but just going out in the ether of India. And like any place in the country, if you go out and look at housing beneficiaries, one will be Muslim, one will be Hindu, one will be Sikh, one will be Jain, somebody might be a Buddhist. You just find them because that's how we live in our communities. And we've reported those stories. When an eye-opener for me, because I don't easily digest government statistics. I've heard them for too long. They make very good infographics. So you have to touch it and feel it sometimes. Now, I know it's only anecdotal, and there can be other anecdotes to tell also. But when we are saying that religious discrimination is taking place in the 266 crore touch points in the 10 major schemes of the union government in the past 10 years. 266 crore, ladies and gentlemen, touch points. 80 crores getting free food, 50 crore Jan Dhan accounts, 10 crore toilets, 11 crore Ujjwala cylinders. You're talking about a broad swathe. Think about it. 266 crore, 2.66 billion touch points of government schemes of the top 10. There are many more. Can you look back and say that they were all Hindu-centric? Then, Savio, before I get in the other guess, let me ask you some straight questions. 10 years later, has a Narendra Modi or a Bharatiya Janata Party under a Narendra Modi indicated or created a Hindu Rashtra? Savio.
Because we are already Hindustan. We are already Hindustan. This is a majority Hindu nation, but it is not what people want to term it as Hindu Rashtra, because that is merely a play of words. When you have a majority population that's Hindu, you are termed as Hindustan. It is obviously a fact that everyone connected to this land, rooted to this land, is a Hindu or an intake in beliefs or in roots. So I have never once, and that's one of the reasons I support Narendra Modi, is because I don't see him play the religious card as far as governance is concerned. A religious card for him is personal. And more importantly, it is also about him bringing about the transformation of India to Bharat. But that is not something which comes in the way of governance, which is why I'm saying that, right? In my constituency, the majority of them who have taken the benefits are from the Christian minority community. I don't know why we have the term minority in the first place. Because minorities refer to
they are just
who are not
people of
same
India.
line.
That's the point. They are just the people, and in different circumstances require different welfare schemes for their benefit. They are people of India. They are all equally deserving of those schemes.
Exactly.
Grace be to God that we live in a country capable
minority
of delivering those schemes to everyone. Finish your thoughts, Savio. Yeah.
You see, a lot of people saying, oh, you're from the minority community. Please understand that Bharat Mata or Mother India is the same for everyone. Just because I belong to a Christian faith does not make me a minority in my own country. How can that be? A mother does not distinguish between her children.
Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is not a conversation on whether people support Narendra Modi or don't support Narendra Modi, or should support or not support, like or dislike, agree with or not agree with. It's a simple, straightforward question about this country, which has been told, you and I, that our primary identity by default is for some religion. Then we have secondary identities of sub-religions and sub-castes within that identity. Then we have language. Then we have north-south. We have so many different identities which take precedence and the division of the pie. And this becomes an over-dominating philosophy. While we try to get Rahul back in, let me get Tahira Ahsan into this conversation. Tahira ji, now, the premise, ma'am, is pretty straightforward. We can disagree with the man, disagree with his politics, not like him, have all sorts of issues. But can we today, after 10 years of seeing the proof of the pudding, say that yes, in the rollout of the government schemes, there is no visible, subversive religious discrimination?
You know that what Prime Minister is saying, Prime Minister is trying his level best. I agree with it, that he's trying that these government policies, schemes must reach to the marginalized class also. Because he had talked about the Pasmanda Muslims also in minority. So I agree with this. Because we are the largest democracy which is run by the Constitution, and Constitution is the soul of the Constitution is secular. So I believe that whether you add the word, because earlier this word was not added in the Constitution. It was added by the Prime Minister, that time late Prime Minister Indira Gandhi ji. But it is whether it is in the Constitution or not, the soul of our constitution is secular, means that it says that, as Baba Sahib has he's tried to put his full emphasis on this, that all the citizens of this country, irrespective to caste, creed, religion, and color, they are equal before the law and they have equal rights on the resources.
So Tahiraji, that's the logic. My question is in practice. In practice, when the roads are being built, or the airports are being built, or the houses are being built, or the toilets are being built, are we seeing religious discrimination?
No, there's no discrimination. Hindus are also using road, Muslims are using education, free education policy that is benefiting to Christian, Muslim, Hindus, everybody. All the citizens of this country get benefits. But one question, Rishabh, is there, that the Structure Committee and Ranganath, that reveals the true face of the so-called secular parties also. So I think this government, when the Prime Minister, now Modi ji, when came in the power, he had to implement these policies also.
Okay, all right.
That the previous governments failed to implement.
Okay, but when the argument is made that the premise is to go about doing welfare mechanisms, and now we've lost count of how many there are, and several of them are not promises, they are in late stages of delivery, that we go about doing welfare mechanisms, that itself is the service that the people need. They don't need specialized service on the basis of religion, which is what the problem has been, which is where the politics has been created for so many years.
Yes, of course, but you know that Prime Minister, he talked about the Pasmanda Muslims. They are marginalized, their education is very low in this community. So something should be done for the upliftment of this community. This is what I am saying.
Okay. So then I have to ask you the obvious next question, ma'am. It's been 10 years. Okay. 10 years is not a short time. Yes. Narendra Modi might get another 5, he might get another 10. You know, life is not unlimited. The ability to be in a position of power is not unlimited for anyone, you and me included. In the past 10 years, for all the fears that there is going to be Muslims under threat, that a Hindu Rashtra will be created, that a Hindu nationalist is operating at the top, in all honesty, have the fears been realized? Is that what's happening?
No, I never felt, Rishabh. Again, I will repeat, the democracy, this largest democracy run by the constitution, India is India. It is neither a Muslim Rashtra, not a Hindu Rashtra. You know, it's a contradictory to constitution. We are Indian. We believe in unity and diversity. We believe in composite culture. In our country, different kind of languages are spoken, different cultures are followed by different people, different communities, and we have castes, subcastes. You know, we have tribals also. We have, in the Muslims also, there are castes. In the Christians also. So we all live together, and we believe in only one constitution.
Okay.
Constitution.
Okay, you're giving the constitutional argument, ma'am, but my question is different. It's about leadership. The structures are sound. Fair enough. Okay, they've withstood us for 80 years. We know what's happened in all around us when it comes to constitutional structures. So praise be to the constitution as well. But in terms of political leadership, when we were told, and I began this conversation by saying, let us be very suspicious of slogans. Okay, because the politicians give us all sorts of slogans. Garibi hatao, okay, roti kapda makan, we've heard them all before. Okay, but when we were told, sabka saath, Vikas, Vishwas, has there been roads and miles that have been walked down that path by Narendra Modi in earning all of this?
Yes, he's tried his level best and he's tried to bridge the gap and all the things. And when the leaders and all the parties have the fringe element, so they come out and speak when against any community, then he come out and speak most of the time. But I think he has to walk a long way, he has to go.
Okay, so it's fair enough to say that, and of course the country has a long way to go. But what is the premise? And let me get back to Savio in this. Savio, then are we actually perhaps seeing that the effort and the labor can get past the worst of fears and apprehensions which have reasonably or unreasonably created, malafidely or not, have consumed us for too long, have dictated our policies, have dictated our politics, have dictated our emotions for so long that just perhaps we are getting past that?
In the fact that Rishabh,
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, go ahead.
To answer your question, the beauty of what's happening to the country in the transformation is that we are evolving as a nation. And world over, if you look at India's evolution, you are seeing that it is evolving faster and better than most other nations. And why is that? Because we have gone away from thinking in a very myopic vision of what India's identity is all about. Because today, India is not India. India is rising as Bharat. And as a Bharatiya, everyone is realizing his importance towards nation building. In fact, Rishabh, Amit and I are working on our new book, and we have analyzed the last 10 years of the government. And if there's one thing that I would say after the entire analysis over the last couple of weeks, is that the government, under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, has done one thing, and that's got the Atma Vishwas of every single Indian stirred up. And that is what is driving India. That Atma Vishwas comes from the belief that we have a government and a leader at the top who cares about every single citizen. And that is the hallmark of this government.
But Savio, whether it be reasonable, unreasonable, practical or impractical, sometimes even without evidence. But let's not be naive and suggest that psychology doesn't play a part. Sometimes emotions do play a part. How I feel, even when faced with examples and arguments and case studies and histories and records, sometimes when I feel that, look, or I've been made to feel that I'm a minority, okay, I will be overwhelmed, I will be disenfranchised, I will be cut off, there will be a brute majority, and they will cull us from the land. There might even be genocide, who knows what can happen, and there are plenty of baiters jumping in. Are we denting into that psychology by chipping away at it through karam dharm?
That's exactly what we are doing. Prime Minister Modi is currently working on putting or instilling in the people of India a simple philosophy about karam dharma. You live by your karma and you are a product of your dharma. It's as simple as that. So today, I'm a Christian, right? My faith is that in Christianity and in the teachings of Jesus. But does that stop me from contributing towards nation building? The answer is no. Does that stop me from respecting my sisters and brothers of the Hindu faith and support them in the Ram Mandir? The answer is no. Does that stop me from supporting my sisters and brothers of the Muslim or the Sikh faith? The answer is no.
Okay.
Why should it?
No,
because are we not all Indians?
No, the irony is we live this reality. I've just taken down the Christmas tree from my house, okay, which was put up for my daughter, okay, as there was one when I was growing up. We celebrate Diwali, okay, and I attend the iftar parties. So when the feasts that are organized, we live in this reality. But when asked about it, we create for ourselves a fear that this is the other, even though our daily, day-to-day routine tells us otherwise. When during Eid, I listen to the alarm going off at 3 in the morning, okay? There is literally a Gurdwara and a masjid next to each other in the colony that I live in, next to each other. It's perfectly normal. And we all grow up like this. But it's made obscene, and that's the thought process. Let me quickly get Rahul Ishwar into this. Rahul, this is the question I wanted to ask you. Sorry we lost you. Make your point, then I have a question. Make a point.
Absolutely. What you said is the lived reality. I take great pride in saying for the past 1,000 years, crores of Hindu pilgrims, when they go to Shabarimala, first they offer a respect in the Vavar Mosque. Vavar is Ayyappa's best Muslim friend. And Velita Church. Velita is another of Ayyappa's very intimate friend. So this is the pluralism and harmony we have. We don't need any artificial kind of secularism. That's the reason why our original constitution by Baba Saheb Ambedkar didn't mention the word secular. We are naturally pluralistic. We are naturally harmonious. And Savioji might be surprised to know I have perhaps the largest face painting of Jesus Christ in India in my home. Nearly it is 140 square feet, only his face painting. See, I'm a Hindu activist. So this is the happy or the best Christmas Eve celebrations in India are in Swami Vivekananda's Belur Mud, where Hindu saints celebrate Jesus Christ and Mother Mary. This is the happiness and harmony India's culture gives, our civilizational value gives. That harmony is in our DNA. But artificial secularism was injected during Indira Gandhiji's time, and she wanted to score brownie points with the left. That's the reason she introduced. She was kind of dictatorial on one side, so she wanted to balance by saying I'm taking off the privy purse, taking off the I'm including secularism and socialism. So secularism is a Western concept. Harmonious dharmic pluralism, sarva pantha samabhavana, sarva dharma samabhavana is a natural Indian concept, and we should be able to celebrate that. That is the essence of being an Indian.
Okay, so Rahul, have we moved from the era of lip service to Muslims who remained underdeveloped, lip service to the poor about roti kapda makan and bijli sadak pani, lip service to everyone, to say we are now going to get things done, and there is going to be a Muslim household which is received, and I've seen this happen with my own eyes, who have received a house, they have received a toilet, and they are very happy with their lives. And doesn't mean that they are fans of Narendra Modi, but their lives have become better. That was the point.
One more thing. On a policy statement too, Narendra Modi, see, I don't belong to BJP or Congress. I'm a neutral political observer. Modi ji was categorical in saying Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, Sabka Prayas. And even Sarsang Chalak, Pujaniya Mohan Bhagawat ji, went on to say that why look for shivling under every mosque? He was trying to reach out to Muslim community. See, India has Hindus, Muslim, Christians, Jains, Jews, Parsis, Sikhs, believers, non-believers, agnostics, from time immemorial. So we should be able to celebrate, we should be able to have the cohesion. But Hindus being sidelined in the name of secularism was happening for the past 70 years. That shouldn't be there. Or to be more honest, politically honest, we were moving in the path of Nehruvian secularism. Now we have moved on to a more positive secularism or pluralism or Gandhian pluralism or harmony, whichever way you want to call it. We have moved to that. So when the state rejection of especially Hindu faith, where even Rajendra Prasad ji was not allowed to go to Somanatha temple, we have the Prime Minister being the Pradhana Yajaman of Ram Mandir in Ayodhya, and also when he gives out roads, when he gives out toilets, when he gives out all the structures or all the development models, no discrimination is being done. See, this is what India really needs. This is what any nation in the world needs. So we need such harmony. That harmony is pluralism, and that pluralism is the essence of Sarva Patma Samabhavana or Sarva Dharma Samabhavana.
Okay, so I'm just going to sum up what Rahul has just told you. What Rahul has just tried to explain to you, that the problem was that we were told for a generation that because there are Hindus in a majority in this country, they have to be very apologetic about their faith. That it is acceptable, and it is accepted in common parlance. If you say Salam Alaikum, Sat Sri Akal, these are accepted in common parlance. But be careful, don't really say Jai Shri Ram, because even though it might mean hello for you, it might be Hindu fundamentalist for somebody else. So now you're being told that it is perfectly normal, decent, humane and good to be comfortable in your own skin, because where we go as a country has to be something larger than that. That is so important, so fundamentally important, that it has ripped at our social fabric for so many years, if we can get past it. So I'm going to end this conversation here. My thanks to Taira ji, Rahul and to Savio. And I'm going to leave you with this thought on where I began. In the 266 crore various kinds of beneficiaries of central government schemes over the past 10 years, where have you seen the discrimination on the basis of religion? In the past 10 years, have you seen the BJP under Narendra Modi primarily only interested in Hindu fundamentalism, creating a Hindu Rashtra, or are they doing what they said they do, which we should not have believed at the get-go? Sabka Vikas, Sabka Saath, trying to earn Sabka Vishwas and encouraging people to Sabka Prayas. I leave it to your intelligent judgment, because the questions are sometimes very simple, very basic, that tell us the best kinds of truths. It has to be a modern Indian satyagraha.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.